Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to one and to all. Perhaps it is Sunday, depending upon where you are on the globe. We are back with another episode of Adult Conversations with Cynda Family and Friends. Today's episode, we will be discussing Charlie Kirk and the aftermath after his tragic passing and Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the slight modification to that. So, without further delay, I will introduce my beautiful host, Miss Cynda Williams.
Hello, everyone. Thank you
Mhm.
for joining us today, this Saturday, this month of September. I can't believe how quickly the time is passing, but I want to dive
Mhm.
right in on and have everyone, we have some new faces today, introduce themselves. As you know, I'm Cynda Williams, known primarily for acting and some singing and all my low posts. So thank you for coming. And also the host of Adult Conversations with, et cetera, et cetera. James, can you, just in case we have some new folks, tell everybody hi? James Williams.
You want me to say something?
Yeah. Introduce yourself a little bit, please.
My name is James Wesley Williams. I live in Valparaiso, Indiana. I also live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and a host of other places that I travel to. I'm a psychotherapist presently. My work is in psychotherapy and dealing with clients. I have a series of clients in different parts of this area, Indiana, Illinois, et cetera, and so forth, Michigan. And I work with my partner, Alicia Brownstein, and we not only do that as a therapist, but I'm involved in some other kind of endeavors or creative endeavors as relative to my what I used to be or what I used to do so many years ago. So I'm glad to be with you, and it seems like that there are one, two, three, four ladies, and I seem to be, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the only male participant at this afternoon, and I'll do my best to hold up the crown of male masculinity as best I can.
Thank you. You are always someone we can count on to be the man in the house. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
Okay. Next, I would love to ask Renee to introduce yourself.
I'm so sorry. Hi, my name is Renee Wilson. Thank you for having me back, ladies and gent. I appreciate that. I am in Englewood, New Jersey, born and raised in the Bronx, New York to Jamaican parents. I'm currently the tax assessor for the tax assessor assistant for the city of Englewood, but I have my own business on the side with Mary Kay, where I'm a sales director, and I lead a bunch of amazing women to their success and discover their goals and find out their confidence and their talents. And I'm married now to a retired firefighter, Doug Wilson, for 26 years. I have two adult kids that just graduated, Dante just made 25 and Janae 22. And that's a little bit about me. I just love being here on this platform because I enjoy your conversations in person, Cynda, and I enjoy being here. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you. And thank you, Renee, for bringing two beautiful ladies to join us in this conversation.
Yes.
I'm always looking for people that have brilliant minds and opinions they want to share. So
you're going to love them.
Tamara, please introduce yourself.
Great day, everyone. I am Tamara Tillman. I'm the leader of those brilliantly bright, illuminating torchlights of Mary Kay Cosmetics. I am an independent beauty consultant. I haven't run on the track that Renee is running on, but I have been a master seller for over 26 years. My day job is that of a workers' compensation claims executive, and I have been doing that for over 40 years. Well, working on 40 years. And it is a both of them speak to my passion, which is helping people realize the best in them. So I have two amazing adult daughters, one of which who blessed me with two mini me's, two young ladies that are 8 and 11. I live in Clark, New Jersey. I have always lived in New Jersey, but most of my career has been in New York. I met Renee, oh my goodness, many years ago is what I'm going to say. And it was before we became business partners. So she's just the best spirit. And I'm grateful to have her in my life. And I appreciate the invitation to join you ladies today.
Thank you. Thank you. And then Elisa, please introduce yourself.
Hi. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. I love a good conversation about anything. So my name is Elisa Barnes. I'm recently married, so it's a hyphenated name, Elisa Barnes Gaskins. This is my second marriage. I am a mother of one by nature, but I am a mother of many by choice. My husband and I have a blended family, and my career path is as an educator, which I came to much later in life, and subsequently have worked in early childhood, child development, special education, educational coaching. And now I am sort of not really empty nesting, but re-nesting in a new marriage and just kind of finding my way. I moved from New Jersey. So I was in your neck of the woods over there. I was in Scotch Plains, and now I am living in West Nyack, New York. So just kind of readjusting my life to a new thing without my 20-year-old daughter who's always been by my hip out in the world in college, and sort of figuring out my path of where I want to go in these next few years. So
that's awesome. Your life sounds a little bit, very different, but very similar to one child, at the hip and, but the only kids I have are the ones I teach. So I'm happy for that, but
I mean, I'm blessed. My husband has 3 children, and in the blended family, we now have grandchildren. So it's nice. Very exciting, and I'm very blessed. I have a wonderful blended family that have taken my daughter and I in as part of theirs, and we've taken them as ours. And so it's been a wonderful melding of family, truly blending. So it's been great.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Thank you for
And I have to say this. So Elisa ended up marrying a guy who's like my brother that I grew up with in the Bronx. So,
but we didn't know that.
Yeah, they didn't know that at the time.
Oh, that's
I didn't know at the time. So I do know he's a very good guy. So
it's a very small world.
Very small world.
It makes sense, when people are aligned. There's a lot of alignments, so it's not surprising that you like her and you like him. So it's very cool. So, Leese, do you want to tell, just in case someone new watches, anything about yourself, or what do you want to do? You're in charge, Miss Producer.
Basically, I work as an investigator full time, and I try to upload and have these informative and important conversations. So I'm very thankful and blessed to be able to do that. So I thank you, Ms. Cynda, and everyone else.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's dive into this. 111, perfect timing. So, tell me, do you want to open the conversation, Leese?
I do. Give me one moment. I want to put this up, and this came from the Rolling Stone. It was a commentary, and I would like for this to be the talking point. Those of you can add your own, but I want your perspective on this. Let me know if you're able to see it.
Yes. So are we just reading it? Or was that just to read? Okay, I thought it was video. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start. So I'm going to say this. I didn't know who that was. Okay. When I heard, my roommate was like, oh my God, they just undeaded. We got to be careful, ladies, about how we say these words on this platform.
Okay. Because unalived.
I can't remember. But when they just unalive Charlie Kirk, and I'm like, who's that? I didn't
That's
know
what I
who that.
said.
I had no idea who that was. Now, but I had heard of someone that was a surrogate for our president who was out spewing a lot of things that were getting people riled.
Yes.
That I heard about, but I never knew his name.
Yes.
So as soon as I typically stay away from the news. I just, it's just too upsetting to me. So I just read headlines. So I'm sure I would have read the headline, but I just had to know who this person was that he was screaming about. So I looked him up and I read some of the stuff that he had been known for saying. I was like, oh, it's this guy. But I didn't know his name. I didn't know his face. I didn't know anything about him. But this guy who was a child of God,
Allegedly.
he was alive and well and spreading his beliefs. And his beliefs just happened to be very challenging to a large sect of our communities. And he brought up a lot of anger in people. So when I read the things that he'd been saying and all of this kind of stuff, I was like, okay, so while we have a right to speak our minds, we also have to deal with the consequences of speaking our minds, and I did not celebrate, of course, no matter what he said. Of course I didn't, because I truly believe that we are all here for a reason, and some of us are here to wake us up by doing wonderful things, and some of us are here to wake us up by doing things that are challenging and hard for people to deal with. Because in his demise, I think he woke us up that much more to corruption, to what some dark forces are trying to do in our country and beyond. His demise exposed a lot of that need to change. And I'm not ever happy when somebody passes away, and especially when it comes to traumatically. But I think that his life and passing have shown a lot more people how divided we are. Renee, what do you think?
I absolutely agree. I did hear of him because I follow a young man named Dean Withers, who's always debating. This young man, I think he may be 22 now, but he started when he was probably 19, 20. Very intelligent young man. And he would debate a lot of Republicans in an arena. And he kind of blew up when he debated that person that passed away. And he's very smart. Dean is very smart and clever in his thinking. So that's how I heard of him. So when my boss had said, have I ever heard of him? I'm like, I think I know the name. But when I saw his picture, I'm like, oh yeah. So at that time, I just heard he got pew-pew, because, that's what they say online, pew-pew. And then I heard that he passed away. Now, I'm sorry for the tragic way that he died, and his kids had to see that. Do I feel any way about it? Honestly, I don't. Do I feel empathy? I don't. And I am a very empathetic person, but I just feel his rhetoric and what he said and the things that he was teaching and going around. I'm very careful with my words, and he spoke that into his life. If you go back and you look at the things that he said, that he believes that some people should be unalived by gun violence to prove, the Second Amendment, or to have that. You can't go around saying those things. Again, I am not celebrating what happened to him. It was tragic, absolutely. But when you're against somebody, and I know I do believe in God, and you cannot go against God's people. Am I here to judge how people worship whoever they worship? I am not. However, I know the God that I serve teaches love, not hate, teaches unity, not division, teaches love your enemies as your own. Yes, but it doesn't mean that you think even the least of these are God's children. And when you're looking at a group of people less than you and think that their life means nothing, that the voting rights, was a mistake and all these other things, that's not good. That's bad energy that you're inviting into your circle. So a life is a life, but some of us choose, just like some drug dealers, you choose that life. It's a risk.
Right. Yeah. I hear exactly what you're saying. James, what are your thoughts? Did you know Mr. Kirk, of him?
No, I too did not know him. As a matter of fact, I have never even heard of him until all of this manifested. However, I am the John Donne poet, as you all know. Any man's death diminishes me because I'm involved in mankind. So I'm sympathetic to his family, his children, his wife, etc., and so forth, all those kind of things. However, after he has manifested in my personal space, as I watch TV sometimes, I've heard so much about him, and that seems to me there is something more happening in the world than just this person. And it seems to me, and I'm a novice, so I don't know all about it. It seems to me that he is, and he was, and still is speaking for something that is happening in our world today. It's something relative to change and relative to understanding who we are as human beings. And I had to reevaluate, or just to evaluate what I thought he was representing. I do understand that he is a prime candidate in regards to our president and that whole movement that they are about to do or they have done, and et cetera and so forth. And I don't want to get into all that. However, it caused me to think as it relates to himself. And so I researched a little bit. And he is very intelligent, very charismatic, very outspoken, and unafraid. And then I thought, he is all of these things and probably much, much more. A nice man. He seemed like a nice man. He is representing a cause that I may not be agreeable to. Let's put it like that. I may not be agreeable to in regards to my own personal take on that MAGA issue and all that. I am not putting them down because they have a right to believe whatever they want to believe and to do whatever they want to do. That is their, and I respect that. But I have seen, as an elderly person, yes, I am bragging, as an elderly person, I have seen so much in the past, in my many years of living. I've seen so many changes, so many things that are happening, but I sense there from a therapeutic perspective that something is happening that is more than just Charlie. I think something is happening to our world, and it's relative to an issue of life from a spiritual perspective that we may or we may not understand. But I'm beginning to understand it better as I research and I think about these things. However, I've heard him say on some podcasts and videos some pretty negative things from my perspective. I call it negative. It may not be negative to you all or any himself or his wife and all that, or to our president. But to me, it was negative because it's divisive information in regards to the love of people Homo sapien credulous human beings who are all on this playground of love on this planet. And we're
Um,
all,
I'm
yeah.
so sorry to interrupt. Doe Eyes, we just go into you now. I don't know what happened, but we've lost the panel visually. So hopefully we can fix that. Go on, James. I find it.
But that's okay. Yeah, I'm
Um,
fine. Yeah, so I have mixed emotions about it. My emotions, my choice of emotion is pretty stationary, I'm afraid. Uh, and I am
thank you.
pretty confident in what I believe and looking for what is life manifesting to us all and what is the big picture. I know about Charlie and all that, but what is the big picture and what is he spouting out about? And I sense that the world is changing, life is changing, perceptions are changing, and how we believe and what we believe is coming forth. And it's not a silent thing anymore. People are really expounding on their own perceptions, their own ideas, which is our right. As an African American, I have had a lot to say and a lot to do in regards to that kind of emphasis. And I am not ashamed of it, and I will expound on it at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. So before I hear from you, Tamara, I want to the quote that you put up, Lise, um, saying that Charlie Kirk divided us and his death has divided us more. My opinion is his life and death just exposed our division, not made our division. I think it was already there. I don't think
Yeah.
that one man did any kind of dividing on his own. The division was already there.
Yeah.
But he was so open with his thoughts and what he believed, because how he was raised and whatever, that we now know what people are thinking that we didn't know before. And now they're not afraid to say what they're thinking. So I disagree with that person who says his life divided us and his death divided us more, because I just think that his life and death are showing us in real time what people believe.
Yeah.
Tamara, what do you think?
I agree with everything that's been said so far. I learned about this person posthumously. I did not know who he was. I'd never heard of him. I removed myself from the news circuit. I'm like you. I get the headlines. I get what I need to know, and then I move forward with it. I do not. I just don't subscribe to the fake news, and it's fake on both sides at times. So I'll say that that's an even thing. So I am saddened that he had to lose his life. But as Renee stated, you spoke it into existence. And so she and I come from a place where we learn that you bring about what you think about, right? And so he thought about those things often, but he thought that he was exempt from the harm or the consequences that it would cause. And so that, unfortunately, he fell victim to his own words, his own thoughts. I do not condone violence in any way, but it's just interesting to me that it's expected of us to have more empathy, sympathy, and care for him and them more so than they do for us. This has been happening to
Right.
those of us in the Black culture for many, many years. And there's a whole litany of names we can go through, starting with George Floyd, Sandra Bland. There are so many that I can't think of off the top of my head, but this has been happening for years, and we've gotten no sympathy, no empathy, no investigation. And so I'm hard pressed to feel much of anything. I'd say that my feelings are indifferent. I'm indifferent. Don't wish that on anyone. I can't imagine how his children, his wife, you know what I mean? Like, he had a life and family just like I do. But I just don't understand why you think that you should have the freedom to do, say, be whoever you want to do, be, and say. I don't understand why you think that's okay for you and not for your next, the next human being. All human beings were born for a purpose, as someone on the panel did say, and so we should all be able to live that out easily. Like that should not be. You should not be a hindrance to me being who I need to be, who I'm called to be by God, if that is really who you say you serve. We all have that innately in us. We should all have the right to walk the path that God has designed just for us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tamara. I want to hear from you, Elisa, because I can't wait to hear what you're thinking because I'm looking at your face. But we had a guest that's joined us that I didn't have any idea was joining us. Please tell us who you are. Hi, another man.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Lee, invited me, and I know I'm late to the party. My bad. I apologize. Salute to everybody. I can't wait to have this conversation for a little bit. I appreciate you for having me. But go ahead.
What's your name?
Oh, Hassan, by the way. I'm Hassan.
Hassan. Hey, that's my brother's name. What's up, dude? What's up? Welcome to Adult Conversations. We're masculine.
Thank you.
Tell us where you're from, Hassan, because I enjoy diverse panels.
Well, yeah, I was born in Iraq, but I've been in the United States since 6 years old, and I live in the Arizona state right now.
Mm.
All right. Well, thank you. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. And because I just watched a clip that happened in Arizona, Mr. Kirk's memorial service. They had it in Arizona. So I want to hear your thoughts coming from that place. But before, I would love to please hear your thoughts, Elisa. What do you think, Mom?
Well, I'm going to try to wrangle them all in. So I knew a little bit about him. Not much. I've had, my uncle and I are big news followers, not just mainstream news, but alternate news, NPR, YouTube, alternate news sources, because, you know, I want to get the story. I don't want to get the entertainment. I want to get the story. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, I always think, listening to all of this, anybody's death is tragic. There's always going to be someone out there who's championing for somebody, right? On our side, we have Martin Luther King, we have Malcolm X, other leaders that have, you know, been unalived, right? And then we have leaders on the other side who have been unalived as well. So any death to me is a tragic death. I don't necessarily, I'm going to push back on the, you know, you bring that energy towards you. I do believe in that, and I do believe in energy. And I only push back on that because it's not because I don't always agree with it, but I think just taking a different perspective and sitting back from it, I sometimes think that there's a show going on in front for everybody to see, and what's really happening behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Who's really moving things? Who's really, who are the voices and the money that put Charlie Kirk out there? What's their agenda, right? So when I say I push back on that, I feel like there's other things that are going on. And I want us to look a little deeper at that and say, what's the big social impact that's trying to be had? Mm-hmm. Because the base, it's interesting. Charlie Kirk was going to colleges. He wasn't going to the hootenanny down the road wrangling up people. Mm-hmm. He was going to the educated. So there's why that voice? Why was that important? Why were you going to these schools, these college campuses all over doing this? And again, who's behind that? Where's the money that's pushing that forward, that's putting that agenda out there to divide the nation and to speak to a specific group? So for me, It's unfortunate that this happened to him. It's unfortunate that his family has to, as I always say, even Hitler loved somebody. He had beautiful love letters that he wrote to his wife or girlfriend. Everybody's had somebody that's loved them. They have parents, they have partners. So to me, it's a little bit, it's sad that there's people grieving him, and his family. But there's a sense of entitlement that was being addressed with Carl. He was on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
His mission was to get people to express their voice through a means of entitlement. And that it's okay to say these things because, much like James said, without saying it, Uncle James, the racism's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So why now is it okay to voice it in such an egregious way? Why is there this permission? What is going on? And I always say, follow the money.
Mm-hmm.
And not our president's money. There's other money behind that. So what was the point of getting everybody riled up? Why do this? Why? So that's really what I kind of focus on. And the interesting part, which is the question that you asked in the beginning, what is this manifesting for us? I think nothing is an issue until it affects you directly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now, all of a sudden, Jimmy Kimmel gets pulled off the air and everybody's upset with free speech because we're seeing how this virus is sort of creeping into all of our lives. And it's making people like you and I, who didn't really know much about him, if anything, say, wow, who's this person? And look at all these people he's got following them. And on the other side, people are becoming much more united than the press would like us to believe they are.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I say, look at the money.
Yeah.
Look who owns everything. And what's the vested interest for them?
I completely agree with you.
No, I said I had a mouthful.
Yeah, no, I've been holding back some comments because I don't want to domineer because I can talk a lot. But I totally understand. Like, for instance, I truly believe, and I'm gonna say this real quick before we hear from Hassan. I believe that the certain forces, the reason why we're hearing these egregious things, the reason why all this stuff is coming out is because they're losing. They're losing.
Yeah.
And so they're desperately trying to rankle people, to make them angry, to bring up the fear, to bring up all of these things, to pull, honestly, a spiritual pall upon us. So it takes us away from the growth that because we're growing very, very quickly right now. And it's not just one set of people, it's all people.
No,
it's seeping into households and conversations with people that believed a certain way that are starting to see things in a different way. And so I just believe certain factions are fighting for their lives because they see the end of certain things, control systems and all of that. And one other thing, I will admit, I've noticed this, that now with all that's happening, because everything is being just thrown at the wall, I'm going to say it all now before it's too late. Different people are starting to listen to other people they never listened to and say, oh my gosh. Like, for instance, Ms. Owens, Candace Owens, not a fan at all. But she is saying some stuff, y'all. She's implying some very strong comments about who caused this man to be unalive. And it was not a MAGA. It was not us. It was not blue. It was not red. It was the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
He was starting to talk against a certain group of people, and he would not change his mind. He was saying things in agreement, honestly, with liberal talking points, when it comes to what's happening in Israel and Palestine. He was against that, what's happening there. And they tried to shut him up and stop him. And they had this great big meeting where they were saying, you better stop saying the things you're saying. And then he's gone the next week when he refused.
Wow.
He refused. He was like, no, it's not right what's happening. No, I will not take their money. No, I will not go there and get on board with what they're doing. And I would not have known that. I would not have known that had I not. I do listen for and watch for stuff from people that believe differently than me. Again, we've lost the panel, you know? Okay.
Can I just say, Cynda, in response to what you said?
Yeah.
100% I agree with you. It is interesting that dragging people, snatching people up without ID, the Supreme Court saying he could do whatever he wants. None of these things stopped anybody, right? Everybody was appalled. But it wasn't until this unfortunate thing happened to Charlie Kirk that all of a sudden now, and like you said, he was talking about, because he believed in separate.
Yes.
He believed in, so he was like, leave Palestine alone. Israel, go live in your space. Palestine, go live in your space. Once he started that, you start playing with people's money, it starts to be a problem.
Yep.
And
It starts to be an issue.
And can I just say, I know you want to hear from Hassan, is what still has my brain, that was no ordinary shooter. That was a highly professional, paid shooter. Because with all those thousands of people that were there and only one person, the target got hit, that was no ordinary person out. It was intentional. This is just my opinion, to get rid of him. And a very highly paid professional for one shot. And it was only the target that got hit. And a crowd of thousands that were surrounding him. So we got to look into that too.
There's all kind of stuff that's not. It's stinky. It's stinky. It's messy. It's not like just this person didn't like his politics, so they did that. Nah, that ain't what it did. That it was not a passionate crime. It was a thought out, mechanical crime by a soldier of some sort.
In a very specific spot. This is hard to, like, that's sniper stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
But we're missing the point about how they tried to blame it on us. They tried to blame it on a black person. They tried to put that in our laps. And then you see a few black students hanging from trees because of what they thought was the reason behind his unaliving. And so we're again being thrown into the mix when we had nothing to do with any of that.
It would stick out like a sore thumb in Utah.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's just a matter of using a circumstance. Is it the dog, the tail wagging the dog kind of thing?
Yeah, the tail wagging the dog.
Using the circumstances
Correct.
for multiple reasons. Absolutely. Get rid of the problem. He's too controversial, and he's starting to make problems for our money, and make more division by blaming a certain group of people that you know didn't have anything to do with it, and create even more fear and anger by hanging some of them, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you get a whole bunch of stuff happening at the same time, but people are waking up too much to be fooled by it. That's the issue.
Agreed.
Hassan, please, before we tell us what you think, man.
No, I appreciate it. Appreciate it again. Salute to everybody once again. Yeah, rest in peace to Charlie. But we got to be honest, though. The people, and I agree, follow the money, right? The people that put him there, right? They pumped him up. They put him in all of the medias. In the end, they just get rid of him, right? When stuff like this happen, I listen to Jesse Ventura, the former governor of Minnesota. He always says, hire the professional, blame the crazy guy.
Mm.
And there's like a pattern with that. So there's always somebody crazy, always just randomly shot. Like, wait a minute. And people bought that for a little while, but once you dig into it, wait a minute. Now people have been paying attention more closely to stuff. It's not like how back then they can trick people, just point your finger and blame somebody. Now, with the Charlie thing, there's nothing new. This happened before, right?
Yeah.
Now, next year, somebody else can come up and, speak the great talk, and they pump them up. Doesn't matter the race, as long as you're playing their game, right? Remember, money talks louder than words. And the important thing is the ones who can speak very well, don't mess up in their word. They're good with their talking points. They can sell you anything. Now, agree with them or disagree with them, that's another thing. Then what's starting to happen, people start to change their mind. Wait a minute, this is not right. But they don't want you to do that. Like, well, you're messing up our money. We're trying to paint a picture to certain people and audience. Once you start, once you start talking against them or this is wrong, then you become a target. They will warn you. Well, they will warn you. Hey, you got calm down, stop talking. And if you don't listen, that's the end game for you. That's the end game. It is what it is. White, black, Asian,
You
money
go besides yourself. You
Yeah, don't
you
stop
believe-
talking,
right.
but talk about what I told you to talk
Yeah,
about. Don't have
yeah.
an opinion of
I
your
didn't ask
own.
you to think.
Yeah.
Right. You know
What,
you
what,
think.
what I'm
That's what
paying
I'm
you
saying.
for. What
Right.
I'm paying you for. Like, I don't care about your feelings. This is what we
Right.
pay you for. We're the boss in the end of the day. You can pretend to be the boss and my freedom of speech, we can care less about that. This is what we paid you. Same thing with Andrew Tate. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Andrew Tate. He could be a plan too. Or Patrick P. Day, because when you listen to certain people and they keep repeating this way, are they really how they feel or somebody's paying them now? And I got to rethink this. But yeah, I mean, like Charlie, he knew what he got himself into. Once he signed those dotted lines, once he accepted the money, once he accepted he put himself out there, that's the risk. Now, and some people have stayed quiet. They stayed with their agenda or whatever they want them to say. But, again, some people can be human. Hey, this is wrong. But that's when you mess up. That's when you go wrong. Like, how dare you say this is wrong? So
it's like they forget the job.
Exactly.
They start being human and having humanity. Because that's what happened. He was set up to represent a certain thing, but then he started believing he was what the people were saying he was. So his humanity
got a God complex, yes.
Yeah, his humanity came about, and he was like, "This is wrong. That is wrong." Candace was saying on multiple things. This man was not aligned with his duty, his marching orders. He was getting out of line, and so they took him out and blame other people just to distract.
And that's the problem, and that's why everybody falls in the trap when they blame somebody right away. Take a step back, wait a couple days, a week, and look at the whole thing before you make your final judgment.
It reminds me a lot of Malcolm X.
Yeah. It's simple.
Separation from
They
Islam.
hire, and JFK too. Same thing happened to get the professionals and hire the crazy man. Always angry and whatever. The same thing. Just different names.
The agenda a lot of times is to distract and to keep you off your game, to keep you afraid. Meanwhile, all of our rights daily are getting stripped from us. And that's a very scary thing. If they felt that they could do it with ease, they wouldn't have to redistrict states. If they felt they could do it with ease, they would just go ahead and do it. They wouldn't make a show of everything.
Right.
But the show is to let us know, to get us to live in fear, like we're in China or in,
Russia.
Or
I think it's backfiring, though.
It's hugely backfiring.
It's backfiring. Everything they try backfires.
Yes.
Everything they do backfires. Like like a lot of people, and I don't know if this is true or not, but a lot of people think like the Kimmel thing was more about a distraction, about trying to get us. They were getting so close to that Epstein number.
Every day.
They're getting closer to getting the numbers they need to get those files exposed. And so, okay, let's Kimmel's popular. Let's take away his rights so they can get mad about that and talk about that. And I noticed
that weed keeps popping up.
I noticed that.
No, but real quick with Jimmy Kimmel, my bad. With Jimmy Kimmel, when he got fired, that's like a warning to him. That's like somebody slapping you around. Hey, this is a warning. Next time, what happened to Charlie is going to happen to you. So you got to follow the pattern right here.
Yeah, Jimmy it could Kimmel, be that. I also think it was a distraction. I think it was a distraction.
I think it was a distraction.
Because if they meant to fire him, they would have fired him. It wouldn't have been a suspension. I think it was a distraction. So we could stop paying attention to those numbers being added up in the Senate.
I think that's true.
You know,
but I also think that it is true that they wanted to use it as a distraction, but they also wanted to see if they could get away with it. They wanted to see if they could get away with shutting them up. So I think that
again, like Elisa said, Tamara, follow the money. When all those people started their subscription for Disney and Hulu, and it
hit their pockets really hard.
Said, it backfired because it came out more just like, oh, wait a minute, we are losing money. See how Target messed around and found out.
Everybody got an apology now that they're losing money.
Right. It is about the money.
And you notice that with that backfiring, it was not just, it was Joe Rogan. It was all these people on the right who were saying, no, you can't do that. Because so they might have meant it for a distraction, but it made people that much more come together.
I forget who said it. Somebody from the right said, we have to be very careful. It might have been Mitch McConnell, somebody of that level. We have to be very careful with what we're doing because, we look at history, the pendulum always swings the other way.
That's right.
So you got it. They want all these things and they want a king. They got to be careful what they're allowing because at some point this is going to flip. I'm not saying there's not going to be casualties. All of us are going to suffer in some way, shape, or form. And our children, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, the pendulum will swing the other way. And this could be I'm not even going to say this will be a very different looking country. That is why they are shipping people out and silencing people's voices and taking away voting rights because they already know. They can see the trajectory of it, and they have to feed false information to support their narrative.
Of course,
get Charlie Kirk, like going back to where we started, Cynda, putting him in colleges. Because what does college teach you to do? It teaches you to critically think. It teaches you to look at both sides of the coin. So, hey, wait a second. Even though we're
still young, pliable minds that are not fully developed.
Correct. So we put him in a strategic place for a strategic reason.
Yeah.
But now if he goes out there and starts preaching separatism too much without ownership, he's a problem.
Yeah,
he's a problem.
So we have like just a little bit more time before we move on to our next topic. Each one of you, I would love to hear in a contained way what you think you can do personally to move us forward instead of allowing ourselves to be pulled backward when dealing with the separatism they're trying to push, the divisiveness, the fear, the anger, having to do with this topic. What do you think personally you can do in your life to move us in the direction you want to move us in? Hassan, let's start with you.
I mean, you can protest. We've seen that people protested, people rioted, people speak out. The only thing you can do is do you. You feel what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. do you. And if the people want you gone, they'll get you gone away from the internet. They unalive you. That's not gonna change. Even just put it. Doesn't matter what year we're in, what century. That's been happening every year, every century. They just do it in a different way, or they just make you look crazy. If you want to put yourself out there, speak for the people or speak what's right, just remember one thing: you're putting yourself at risk. There's consequences. Even though you're doing the right thing or you have good intentions, they don't give a damn about that. Just remember that you put in yourself, and one is enough. Because if they can't get to you, they'll go after your family or your personal life or whatever they try to dig up on you. So always remember that. And unless they pay you off and they shut you out, here's some money, stay quiet, go away. So that's always going to be there no matter what we do, you know? Like I said, just be you and make the best out of it, really. And just remember, the louder you speak, the more attention you get, then you become a target now. They got their eye on you.
Okay. Thank you. Renee, what do you think?
I think for me, what I've been doing, again, it does come down to the money. I haven't been in Target. I never really shopped in Walmart, So for me, I just want to support those who support me. I'm more careful now where I spend my dollar, right? Down to even toilet paper, because you got to look into these companies that support, some NRA or some right-wing things, So that's what I'm doing. I love everyone and anyone who knows me. I have a vast circle of friends, different ethnic groups, different colors, religion, all of that. And we forgot about that. Who told certain people that they own this country? Really, they don't know their history, right? Because they think they did, or they think they do. So I try to educate not just my kids, but those around me, like some adults as well, to be confident in what you believe in and stand up for what you believe in and have some type of moral ethic about you. Truly, people, for me, am I a perfect Christian? No, because there is no perfect Christian. But people say a lot of things, but I'd rather people see the God in me than me to quote the Bible. Amen. I'd rather live it where people can see my light of the God that I know I serve, to see that in me and be more Christ-like, not by my words, but by my actions.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. James?
By virtue of definition, yes, I do believe in what you're saying. We have a tendency, or we are developing a tendency of reactionary, to react relative to everything that we know and how we see the world and how we like the world and what we perceive as being this, that, and the other. For me, I would like to look beyond that reactionary. I am not denying it. I am not saying you're wrong or I'm wrong. I'm saying that the world is changing. Life is not the same as it was 30 years ago. And for me, I can say 40, 50, even 60 years ago, it is not the same. The world is transitioning. The strange thing about that is that we wasn't in the time that it was changing. We were younger and we were just reacting to life, et cetera, and so forth. But now even those of us who are young and old are a part of this change. And we must, in my opinion, we must accept the change and look beyond our thoughts and our thinking and our developed mannerisms and our developed process in thinking, to the extent that we begin to look at something else. There is something else happening, everybody. There is something else happening that is different from anything that you have ever known, and is there for either we get the good out of it, whatever the good is as it relates to your definition, or you can get the bad out of it. A reaction is good. I am not saying it's bad. I am saying that the world is not the same as it was last year. I'm sorry. The world is not the same as it was 10 years ago, which means to me is that something is different. And that difference is we need to learn to accept it and to evaluate it and see how it affects our lives. The churches are diminishing. Businesses are changing. Disciplines are changing. Everything is changing. Now, how do you fit in that change? And what are you looking for? The same as it was? No, I'm not looking for it the same as it was when Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, et cetera, and so forth. I went through that whole process, but that is not what's happening now. This is something brand new because this is the way the world evolves and rotates. It's your responsibility and my responsibility is to honestly to investigate what is that change. And even though it goes against my thinking and my reactionary process and what I used to believe, it may be something that is going to take those of us who are here today and our children to a different way of living, loving, and being together. Because that is the bottom line. Love our children, love all people, etc., and so forth, but in a way that will be acceptable to this great change. And I believe that it's going to benefit everyone, even though it comes sometime in a negative way: murder, mayhem, confusion, anger, etc., and so forth. As a therapist, I hear it every day. Oh my God, every day. But as a human being, I know that there is something else happening. It may not fit our thinking. How can that happen? Well, because the world is changing, in my opinion.
I agree 100%. I'll say right quick that I think that everything that's happening, all the division, all the scary, all of that, all the conflict, all the seeming bad is really being used for our good. That's what I take from what you just said.
Yes.
Elisa, can you give us your thoughts? And then Tamara, and then Doe Eyes, we'll move on to the next one unless you have something to say. Okay.
So really quick, just continue to listen with a calm, open ear, being kind to people, giving people the space to express their opinions, even if I don't agree with them, giving them that grace, and staying informed. I think it's really important to stay informed and share information. Renee knows, when I get information and resources, I put it out there. This is what's going on. I vet the information because I don't feel that we have enough sources of good information to keep us informed of what's going on. And much like Renee said as well, I'm much more careful where I put my money and sort of, paying attention to that, because where we spend our dollars does matter. How we use our voice does matter. Even in our small circles, our voice is still our voice. So that's mine.
Thank you.
Okay. And I agree with everything that's been said. And what I do is I influence my immediate circle, my children and my nieces and my nephews, all of whom are in that millennial group. And we got a few Gen Zers. But I influence them, and I'm thankful that they surround themselves, or I surround myself with them and then my outer circle. But operate in fairness. Be fair. Operate with facts, not feelings. You can't operate on your feelings. Your feelings come and they go. They're not always the same. Today I hate you, tomorrow I might love you. You tick me off today, you know what I mean? So your feelings are not, they're not facts. And educate yourselves. Hear everything. Listen to all sides. Use your critical thinking. You know what I mean? Like, don't base your actions on what you heard from the next person. Dig a little deeper, as Elisa said earlier. Just dig a little deeper, get all of the information, and base your actions on facts, not your feelings. And remember the consequences of your voice, the consequences of your actions. Can you handle them? Can your family handle them? Because you're not just speaking for yourself. As you get older, you're now attached to a whole family. So you have to be careful about what you say, how you say it, and who you say it to. Know your audience and use your voice effectively. So that's what I would say to my immediate circle, and I do that.
And thank you, because that people don't understand, I don't think, how effective or how much change they affect by just talking to their family or their coworkers or their friends. You change the world, everything you say. And so that's why I think it's important that you think about what you say. And for me, I ultimately remember that I believe I'm a spiritual person. I believe that it's all for our good. No matter how bad it looks, every revolution, the world gets better. It might be horrible. It might be death. It might be whatever. But if you believe in the ongoing nature of energy, you know that there is no death anyway. It's just change. Change keeps on happening. And so if you stay in that mindset and not get into fear and realize faith instead, then you will never get to the point where you're out of control and allowing what's happening in the world to run how you live your life.
Agree.
Blue Eyes, Leese, aka Leese, do you want to sum up what you think and then move us on to the next topic?
Absolutely. I would say stay true to thyself and never conform.
All right. All right, we're going to now move on to our second topic. I'm so excited. I always like these kind of, I do politics, but I prefer this stuff. The Maslow's, is that how you say it? Hierarchy of needs.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm sorry?
I said a little bit of background for those who may not be familiar with Abraham Maslow. I'll put this up really quickly.
Abraham Harold Maslow was an American psychologist who created Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a theory of psychological health predicted on fulfilling innate human needs and priority, culminating in self-actualization. Yes. And this is his original hierarchy of needs. The base is physiological needs: food, water, warmth, rest; safety needs, security, safety; esteem needs, feeling of accomplishment; and finally, in this version, self-actualization, achieving one's full potential in creative activity. But now it's been updated, and we start with physiological, which is the same: body, food, or shelter. Safety needs is next: security, finances, freedom from fear. Social belongings and needs, our family, our friendships, our intimacy with others. And then the next step up is esteem needs: self-esteem, confidence, respect from others. Our cognitive needs: pursuit of knowledge and understanding. Aesthetic is new: pursuit of beauty and creativity, self-actualization, achieving potential. But then above that is self-transcendent. I hope I said that right. Helping others in your spiritual experiences. This is what's been added to that hierarchy.
Did you guys hear that background?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know where it's
like bubbles or water.
Yeah.
There you go. Still there a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. If anybody has a television or any outside devices going, please start with that.
No, start muting one person at a time, and then you can hear where it's coming from.
Okay. I'm going to mute. Is it me? Okay.
It stopped.
Okay, so we figured it out. So, okay, so this is so cool. And it's my show, so I'm gonna start. No, not really. It's Doe Eyes, but I'm going, it's my name on there. So anyway, when I looked at this, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going here. I'm just gonna do it. That base. Okay, that number one base, that bodies needs foods, water, and shelter. It made everything make sense to me in how the powers, the teeny tiny powers that be, keep us in control. Because that's where they hit us first. If you can't afford your house, you can't afford your food, you can't afford to live, your water's dirty, how can you do the other things that come above it? Our physiological needs are our base.
Your foundation.
If you're in survival mode, because rents keep getting pushed up $400 every month, or food costs $100 for a bag that'll last you for a meal, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is how they keep us in control. The 99% of people is by making that base shaky. And then the next one is the safety. Get on the news and talk about all the people that are getting murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Talk those bad numbers, make people afraid. So it's that base that the from the physiological need to the safety to the esteem to the or the love and belonging. You can't get to loving other people and loving yourself if you are hungry.
Amen.
So to me, I want to get into all these different steps, but it just blew my mind in a way. I mean, I knew all that stuff rationally, but looking at it from this perspective, this hierarchical, how you said it, that is how the powers that be are keeping us deaf, dumb, and blind.
The knees on our necks, but
They control us. They control us.
Yes.
They control the foundation so that you can't build on a shaky foundation.
I actually think they get us around like 4.
Yes.
Around self-respect and confidence and because they pit us against each other.
Mm-hmm. It's all,
and they back build, right?
I think they have used.
Oh yeah, they're smart.
This Maslow's hierarchy of needs against us.
100%.
Because if we don't have the base, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, we're not going to get to the tip top, which is the self-transcendence, which will free us all.
Yeah.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? That's where this took me. I mean, I know about talking about each section and what we should do and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. But this showed me in real time how the powers that be are controlling us. And
but don't forget that they're also like 10, 15 steps ahead of us as well. By the time we figure out like the levels of all this, they already moved on to the next scheme. You know what I'm saying? The 99.
We can't get there. We can't get to. Okay, I'm gonna just say this and I'm gonna shut up and let somebody else talk. Like, for instance, when that movie, that documentary, it was based on a book.
Hassan, it may be you.
When that movie came out called The Secret.
I'm muted.
Y'all remember The Secret? I don't know if you ever heard of it. If you haven't, it's a great book. But
The Secret, yes.
people couldn't understand The Secret because they still were hungry. Is what I'm saying. So the people that are in the know, in the top percent, know The Secret.
Yep.
So since they know the secret, and I'm not talking about the book, but they know the secret to excel, to have abundance, to have power within, to have legacy, is because they're keeping the secret. By keeping us in a place of hunger and worry and not knowing how we're going to live. So that's why we have to figure out
Or fighting for your basic needs.
Yes,
Well, that's
that's
it.
why that's the revolution that's happening right now. because people are starting to say, forget you, I'm going to have my own farm. I'm going to make my own food. I'm going to become more and more people become vegetarians because they can't afford meat. So they're getting healthier too, which is one of the other levels. It's all backfiring. It's all backfiring. Okay, I just had to get that out.
I'm sorry, but just think about even with kids, right? One of the reasons, and at least you're in education, and Cynda, so are you. And I'm sure you see kids coming to school hungry all the time. And it's our kids. So how do you expect them to concentrate on learning something, like you said, because they're hungry? They can't focus, right? They can't afford breakfast. They can't afford lunch. Or now sometimes the parents can't even afford the discounted lunch, right? So from the base, from the ground, like Tamara said, you cannot build on a shaky foundation.
And what do they talk about right away taking out? All of that.
For the schools.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you said that, Renee, as a teacher, because that's one of the things that is constantly repeated in my undergrad and in my graduate, always talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because there's no way that you can move forward if you can never get to cognitive needs if your base needs aren't met. You can never get to self-actualization needs if your base needs aren't met. If you didn't have a foundation of love and belonging, you don't understand what it is to self-actualize, because you never had that. So much to what you were saying, Cynda, about the government, both sides, right? Feeding into these narratives and putting fear into us on different levels, in varied ways, through news, making us afraid to live, people afraid to live in neighborhoods with Black people because they think Black people commit more crime, that there's more incarcerated Black people than there are white people. Just nonsensical fears, which, by the way, isn't a true fact. That's not true, by the way. There's actually more white people than Black people incarcerated. Neither here nor there. My point being that if you tell
Lisa, is it just me that can't hear her?
I can't hear you very well either.
Because of that
really?
sound.
Yeah, the noise is getting bad.
I'm on mute, but I still can't hear.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Oh, is the noise gone?
That helps. Somebody turned it off. Whoever turned it off, it's the sound coming from you.
Okay.
All right. Go on.
All right. So really briefly, just to recap what I said, if you don't have the safety needs, if you don't have a warm environment to live in, if you don't have loving connections, if you haven't established these with your parent at birth, if you haven't established them with a caregiver in your life, if you don't understand what it is to have self-respect because it's never been taught to you, you can never move up the needs ladder. You can never self-actualize. You can never dream. You can never get there because you don't understand what that means. And so forget getting to transcendence, to getting to that phase where you realize that the universe and everything is much bigger than you, that we're all connected, that every action is a reaction and it's a ripple effect. You can never understand those things because you're just hustling through the day to day. So with that in tow, the government on both sides, I believe, sort of plays off of that, right? Whether you'd be a Democrat or Republican, a conservative, socialist, they play off of that. The media plays off of that, playing into the fear of living next to people who you think are not good to live next to, Black and brown people, making you fear that those people are going to endanger you. So I spoke about the incarceration. There's more people that are white incarcerated than there are people of color incarcerated, right? But it's misled information. It's information that's fed out there. And so people think, oh, wow, they're actually nicer than I thought they were going to be. Those nice colored neighbors that I have. And I say color meaning all colors, right? Mm-hmm. Just not white. So we have all of these things that have been instilled in us over years and years and years. So getting to that pyramid and moving up it's extremely difficult for people to even visualize what transcendence is. When you open this conversation up, Cynda, and you said that, I was like blowing up My brain was all over the place because you hit it right on the head. It's a way to control people, and they figured it out. Just like we're reading it, psychologists on the other side have read it and said, you know what? This is how we can get, we start rationing their food. This is what they do in these. Look what's happening over in Gaza. Look what's happening in Gaza. People are starving in the streets. They don't have food. Their basic needs are not being met. And the more they show it, for some, it's a desensitization to what's going on. And what do other parties feed into to support their narrative of why they're over there? They say, look at what they did to us, right?
Right. Yeah. So, Tamara, what do you think?
I agree with everything that's been said. So my thoughts went to, once you have your physiological needs met, you are safe and secure, you are belonging to loving groups, and you reach the point where your self-esteem and your confidence is on what, Renee? On fleek, right? So you got all of that, and then you get into the position. And for me, I'm speaking from a corporate perspective. You get into those positions, they realize that you are more educated, you are operating in excellence, they see your brilliance, and somehow, some way it bothers them to the point that they feel the need to humble you, so that you never get to the point where you're self-actualized, or that you can even transcend. As Elisa said, you can't even reach that point, because now they're attempting to knock you off your pedestal, or knock you off your square, as a friend of mine said. They try to knock you off your square. I arrive, you know what I mean? You arrive, you're confident. You know what you're doing. You know what you're saying. You're educated in your field. You know you're top tier, but there's always someone who's threatened by that. And so you go from the proverbial pet to being a threat, and then they have to humble you. Or they have to try to humble you. Hopefully your confidence is strong enough that you maintain, and you keep reaching, but it's very challenging. And that is where I feel like I find myself. I'm in that space where, okay, you're trying to humble me. And so I have to remember who I am, as they said in Wakanda, show them who you are, right? So that's where I find myself. And as challenging as it might be, this did help me, Cynda, realize this is what they're doing. This is where they're trying to control me. And so now it's up to me to have the strength, courage, and wisdom to overcome what they're trying to do.
And the thing about it is, to be honest with you, this is what I think, take it or leave it. This is what I think. I think that all this is BS. This hierarchy is BS. We can all be to self-transcendence now. We don't have to have food to get there, because we're spirit. That's the biggest part of us, right? We don't have to. There's all these things are things that we have been taught we have to have,
right?
But
because they said so.
But there's somebody that's hungry, that's talking, that's telepathic at the same time, right? Yep. Because what James is saying is what's happening. We are going through a shift, and we are realizing that it's all BS. We don't need, if we know who we are, right where we are, we skip all of that. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all, when I had a big breakthrough, it was about 10 years, like 5 years ago. It was great big, because I had nothing. I didn't have a job. I didn't have no money. I didn't have a car. I didn't have any friends. I was away from my family. I was living alone. I was hungry all the time. I didn't know what I was going to do. And there was this guy who took it upon himself to let me know that I was worthless, and would tell me in every shape, way he could, sending me messages, bombarding me with things. And I finally said, if you hate me so much, why won't you leave me alone? He says, because I want to destroy your spirit. That's what he said, right? And guess what it did for me? What's happening to us right now is what happened for me.
Yeah.
I knew that's all a lie.
That's right.
I'm freaking amazing.
Every day.
I'm all of that. My ancestors are proud of me. God loves me. And I dang on love myself.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter that I didn't have the other 8 or other 7 tiers.
Right.
I didn't have none of that. I felt bad about myself. I didn't have any food. I didn't know what the heck to do, but I jumped all of those needs and went straight to self-transcendence because
You
of this
could.
experience.
Because
And
you could.
that is what I think we're finding out, that this is all lies. We don't need to be rich to transcend. We don't need a boyfriend or a husband or a wife to transcend. We don't need we need relationships, we need connection, but we need, before any of that, to know who we are. We need to, if we're sick, if we know who we are, none of that matters. We'll get through the sickness. If we're hungry, it doesn't matter. We will get the food because we know who we are. And that, I think, is what's happening worldwide as a humanity is remembering, because I think who we are. So all these fears are being decimated. And that's why they're trying so hard to pull us back.
They're trying to hold on to what power they thought they had.
Yep.
Cynda, can I jump in here and just say I totally agree with you 100%. And Tamara knows, because I train on this. I teach this, not this hierarchy thing, but I teach right here in the mind of, you have to know. When I walk into a room, I am confident. You know, you have to walk into that room, and people will, you know, sometimes, you know, in certain spaces, they're like, oh, they think I'm some celebrity. In my mind, maybe I am. Maybe not a celebrity to you on TV, right? But it's the way I carry myself. And sometimes the way we carry ourselves insults, or for somehow, especially
intimidates.
Intimidates, especially as a Black woman. Sometimes the circle that you're in, when you walk into a room and you get dressed in your armor of just confidence, and that does intimidate other people. I don't know why, but every Sunday in church, I do the welcome every Sunday, and I welcome everybody. And one of the last things I say is, give yourself a hug and give yourself some self-love, but you cannot give away what you don't possess, right? And if you don't possess love, you cannot give love away. And if you allow other people to make you think, because you don't have the house, the boat, the 2.5 kids and the marriage and all that stuff, that you are nothing, that is so not true. Because I do live in my vision, not my circumstances. Are my circumstances bad? No. Do I want to be at a different level? Absolutely, in all around in life. But I don't need to see it to know that I belong there. I don't need to be there to know that I belong there, that I am top tier. I am top tier. And it took me a while from my past history of family members, there wasn't a boyfriend somewhere, to make me think that I was less than.
Right.
And then I'm like, wait a minute. Like you said, I am amazing.
Every day.
I have love, and I have a lot of it.
This is the image I just got, and I'm gonna share it, and then I'm gonna post it later. Okay, you know how many people there are supposed to be on this earth, right? We know all the people that's supposed to be. If you just get up in our galaxy, how many stars are there? Far more, right? Yeah. And each of those stars is bright, shining bright in their own right. They are all full of energy, and it's creation up there. That is who each of us are. The Charlie Kirks and the Martin Luther Kings, the yous and the me's. We are all bright, shining stars because God is within us. That's just my belief. Source is within us, and we are all shining bright, so bright that it would burn. Right? We're all, and it doesn't take. So I can shine bright, living in a rental, trying to figure out what apartment I'm gonna live in.
That's right.
At the same time, as that child that's living in downtown Chicago in a cardboard box, as the same thing as our President Trump in his golden palace. We are all equally bright. We are all equally shining. We are all equally full of God. And once we know that, and once they know we know that, right, then it's over for them.
And not just knowing that, but accepting. Like, I always say, I don't compete with my friends. We complete one another, right? And so if this person is here, I am the loudest one clapping and cheering for them because they're winning. Because when one of us wins, all of us win.
Inspiration.
We always say that, Renee. I always say that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I think the whole idea of Maslow's hierarchy of needs was just a way of explaining that these things help support us get there. And obviously, you could have been born in an abusive household and, been in a precious type of situation, right? And still come out and be a loving mother and raise beautiful children. So I think it's, again, it's a framework of an idea and a theory to just show us what's out there and how one thing builds upon another.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's useful. It's helpful.
It's useful.
It's a framework.
It's a framework.
And I'm just saying that they're wrong. Those few dark entities that are so lost, and I feel so bad for them. They think that if they take these levels away, that we can't transcend.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Well, look, we did through slavery, right?
Yes, right.
I mean, so we do it all the time. It's so funny. My husband says all the time. He says, "We've been through this."
Right.
And worse.
People of color have been through what is going on right now. Yes. And he always says, we're going to survive this because that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And I go,
Yeah.
And that's what we were born doing.
He's right. He's right. Hassan, I want to hear from you. What you think?
No, I'll agree with everybody says. And I'll add this too. Everybody needs some type of help, Either they say it out loud, or they can't say it because they don't want to be shut down. So people, they rise up, but everybody's in different mindset. And I understand that not everybody gonna agree and move up. Some people might delete themselves. Some people might do a crime. Because when you push people to a corner and, they feel like they got nothing left, either they make themselves better or they do the worst. So we also got to look at that too. And not everybody has that mindset, oh, I can make it, which they should. But again, we got to be realistic too. Not everybody, oh, I can make this. I can one day own my business. And some people really need help, Now, some people will come, hey, can you help me with such and such? That's all I'm asking. Can you help me? And some people are so scared and nervous that they think they might be shut down. They don't say it out loud. And everybody has different mentality. I understand that. And you can't help everybody,
Yeah, people have to want to be helped. But I think that people are waking up is my point. And I think
Yeah. And that's for sure.
Everybody. I mean, I think the stuff like, dealing with high school students every day and everybody's so confused and frustrated about these kids. I'm like, no, I think they're figuring things out. We just
we did. We did. We had to figure it out too.
Yeah, I think they're figuring things out and they're evolving in ways that we don't understand. And they may not do it. They may not be getting A's in algebra, but they very well might get an A in life. If we allow them to and see the genius in them. I think, Leese, you wanted to say something. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I just wanted to piggyback on the negativity that may be derived from this module, if you will. It could be used by some as weaponized as classism.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. James, do you have a thought about this?
Not really. I'm very much interested in what you're saying because it lends itself to my core beliefs as it relates to life, et cetera, and so forth. So I'm excited about hearing a new perspective as you all presented, and it's interesting. I'm sorry I had to leave. I have I have clients that call anytime they want to. Whenever they're in trouble, they call, and so I'm running to the phone, and so I'm not. So I've not heard everything that has been said, but I sense that you all are on the right path in regards to what we're talking about. So I'm excited, and I'm listening, and I'm learning. As an old man, I'm learning. Okay.
I thank you, King, for that. I want to say that I think what you said, Elise, is really the bane of many people's in certain positions. They can't stand it because what you say is true. But what people don't understand is, okay, like this is an example. So some folks came over here back in the 1600s or so, 1500s or whatever. There was a whole civilization here. And they're like, oh, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Some will take it, right? And then they take it. And eventually, you know, by killing people with disease and all the other ways that were killed. And they get it, and then they don't know what to do. They don't know how to build it. They don't know what to do. So they get those very same people that they took the land from and say, okay, you do this for us. And they put them in slavery. And then they put some of their own people into slavery. And then they put Chinese and whatever. And eventually it comes to Black folks, you know, the folks that were already aboriginal to this land and the ones they brought over from Africa. And they say, you do the work. And then they do the work.
Then they call us the crooks. Just
Right.
saying.
Right.
But I'm just saying, right? So that strength was there, right? And
Right.
so then, okay, but we got to help them forget who they really are.
Right.
We don't want them to know that they built all of these civilizations,
Right.
that we were living in caves when they were building pyramids. Okay, so let's help make them forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And how we'll do it is using this hierarchy of needs. We won't give them food.
That's
we'll
right.
just give them
Mhm.
slots. We won't give them shelter. We'll put them in places that they have no heat. And these people
Yeah, we still
always find a way.
Yes.
Oh my God.
But then they don't understand that it's by the fact that you did that to them that they found a way, because
That's right.
a diamond cannot be a diamond without
Without pressure.
Pressure.
right, all the dirt and the grime and all the stuff off of it. That's what makes it a diamond. We have been made into diamonds.
That's right.
And we look at our
They
time,
can't stand the brilliance of it.
right?
Mhm.
We look at our time in this country and think that's a long time, but it's not. It's a blink of an eye. How fast we've evolved
Yep.
from our identities being stolen
Mhm.
from us and erased from our history, from even ourselves. But you cannot take away the remembrance of the spirit. You cannot do it. And the spirit ultimately leads you to who you are. And that is what's happening now. And that is why all the desperate action is happening.
Right.
Because we're having this conversation, aren't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
We were having this conversation.
Look, I was looking for the heart button like I was on a Zoom. I was just like, what is that?
So you mentioned about taking away from our history. Now, I'm here in
That's
DC.
right.
We take over, right? I've been out filming, so a lot of what mainstream media has shown you all isn't true. A
Yep.
lot of the things were actually going around perimeters of museums. The Museum of African American Art and the African American Museum that was just put up a couple of years ago. If you paid attention to the news lately, they're talking about possibly, or they're asking, well, why are you focusing so much on the bad part of history and slavery? Well, and it was real. So just keep those little things in mind. That's going
Can I just
Yeah.
say, I was out with a friend that she wanted to study broadcasting. She had a radio show a while back when she had moved on the West Coast, and she went to school for broadcasting, and she left it because she said within the first, I don't know, semester or whatever it was, that they told her, which we know the fake news or whatever, they told her how news works. News 101 is whatever you see out there, you report basically what we tell you to report. You can't report
The truth.
The truth. You can't. And she was just, and of course she was young. She was in her early 20s. And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, no. So it's just like, okay, it's raining outside, but you're not saying it's raining outside. Mm-hmm. But you have to make people believe that it's not raining outside, right? And that's what is happening now. You're going to tell us, basically, going back on January 6th, we didn't see what we saw. Right. They were good. It was the day of love, right? So she ended up leaving. I just use that as an example. She ended up leaving because that is what the news does. And she was like, I can't, her ethics and her morale wouldn't allow her to continue to do it. She couldn't do it. And that broke her heart because since we were kids, I know that's what she wanted to do.
But the good thing is there are people telling the truth. Mm-hmm. There's all kind of sort, like Leese, what she does. Mm-hmm. She's
on her own platform.
On her platform, what's really going on. Aaron Parnas, I mentioned him, and his daddy was like a Trump dude. Mm-hmm. This man I don't even know how his wife handles it. Literally, he is constantly updating us on what's happening everywhere all the time in real time. Literally, I get notifications. I'm about to turn it off because I'll get so many notifications because he's telling the truth. Because people know.
But that's regular. We're not talking about ABC, NBC.
I know.
That's right. That's why Roland Martin had to go and do his own.
That's what I'm saying. But that's all coming to an end because no one or most people are turning away from that news because they know it's not true. Mm-hmm. They know it's lies. People are waking up.
It's infotainment. It's been infotainment for
years.
Yeah.
Hey, this has been a great conversation. I appreciate you for having me. I got to go. But before I leave, I want to share this with you guys in the private chat. When you guys have time, check it out. I think I send it to you, Leese. But yeah, you guys check it when you guys ever have time. I think you guys will like it. Salute to everybody. Great conversation. Till next time.
Thank you, Hassan, for joining us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely.
So yes. This turned into a conversation I'm not sure that we had expected, but I could not say what the light bulb it turned on for me.
Right.
Which to me is a more important conversation, at least on this kind of platform. I think the recognition of how basic things have been used against us teaches us, one, how we've overcome so much, yes. And two, how we're continuing to overcome and to awaken. You cannot take away Black History Month.
Right.
Because Black History Month is in us.
Right.
It's in us. And it's every month. For us, it's every month. That's right.
But it's not just us. My point is, okay, I've always, for years, since I've been doing social media, I post all the time. I've gotten on board with that because I knew that was the future when it comes to my business. I would always, every February, do my Black History Month post. But this year, when they said no Black History Month, what did I see? Kids telling stories that they were learning. Mm-hmm. White folks telling stories of stuff that they were learning.
American history is Black history every day.
But I'm just talking about the fact that it's all backfiring.
Yeah.
They said you can't have Black history, and they were like, forget you. Yeah. Not only am I going to have Black history this month, I'm going to have Black. I follow some white content creators that tell Black history every day since he made the announcement.
Yeah, me too.
Every day, because they say Black history is all history. Yeah. It's a part of our history. That wouldn't have happened if he hadn't done that.
Right.
These young kids that didn't give a crap about history now are finding out all this history and sharing it with each other. That wasn't happening before he said you can't have Black history. So everything that's happening to stop us in our tracks is doing the opposite of that.
That's right. I mean, look at what's going on with these HBCUs. They're not going to stop it. They're not going to stop. They're going to go there and protest and it's not going to stop us. We're going to keep moving forward. And I don't say that as a place of hope. Like I hope, this is what we do. We have proven through history that this is what we do.
I have to share this because I was, you know how they say I was today years old when I found out. Well, I was yesterday years old when I found out. So when we talk about whitewashing everything, always, right? I didn't know, and it just popped up. The World Trade Center, right? The movie World Trade Center. I don't know if y'all ever seen the movie World Trade Center. And I looked into the history of it and found out that the guy who actually saved when he was a soldier, and when some people were caught under the rubble, whatever, and it was him that saved all those people, right? And he is a hero. That in the movie that Oliver Stone did, they portrayed him as a white guy.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
It happens all the time.
And the guy's name was something, James something or whatever. And I'm just like, and I'm like, I did not know that. And I'm like, even the person that, what's his name? Jason Thomas was the real hero, right? And I'm like, okay, you're talking about something that was tragic in the history of this country. And even that, you can't tell the truth in. Not even that you can tell the truth.
Why can't we know the truth? What's the problem?
Why can't we be the hero? Because we were the hero. If this was a true story, but you had to portray it as a white guy, as a white hero. And even the person who portrayed that, I forgot his name, whoever the guy's actual name, William Mapother or whatever. Where is your ethics?
They don't have them. They just take the job.
Right. But I have a friend that's in filmmaking that when he did a movie and it was, Biker Boys and the King of Cali, who they loved the movie, they loved the script, but they wanted to change it. The King of Cali, Lawrence Fishburne's character, to a white guy. And he was like, it almost got shelved. It did kind of get shelved until I think Touchstone picked it up. He's like, no, that's not what happened. I want to tell it the way it is because the guy was not a white guy. Why does the white guy always have to come in and save the day and be the hero? So I was a little perturbed about that.
They use television, movies, and all of that stuff to because people don't research, they don't read, they don't know.
Right. They want to paint a different narrative to suit them and erase us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was this movie called Cold Mountain. Did y'all see that? With Renee Zellweger, I think it was called.
I heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Won an Academy Award for it.
Cold Mountain.
In the book, she was Black.
Wow.
I was so freaking mad. And people always they look to me and they're like, well, I have a lot of offers to play Indian roles, Eastern Indian and Hispanic and stuff like that. And if race matters in the script, I won't do it. I just won't do it and they're like, why not? It's a job. You're an actress. Because they're Eastern Indian actresses.
Right.
Because they're Hispanic actresses. But a lot of them don't care about that.
Right.
They don't do the same for you.
Yeah, they don't care about the historical ramifications.
Right. It's like Betty Boop. The play.
Yes, Betty
Boop was a Black woman.
Absolutely.
But all of these years they paint her as a little white figure.
They wish. They wish.
Now that's whitewashing.
Right.
Sure. True whitewashing.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So it's so many things, like you said, Cynda, if you do not read and you do not know, you're really going to think that, wow, white Americans did so much, when just like everything else was stolen.
Yeah.
Right.
Stolen.
I think it was Elisa that said that you have to dig deeper. You have to dig deeper. You have to go beneath the surface. You can't believe everything you hear, and you have to be careful about who you are looking to as your heroes. Because guess what? They may be just spewing something they heard. Dig deeper, learn for yourself, and speak from a place of education.
Well, Tamara, you're absolutely right, Lisa, but we're going to take it back to Jesus.
Yeah.
You look at the depiction of Jesus in the Bible. He was not blue-eyed and blonde.
No, he was not.
So even that, like, no. Hair made of wool. Like, it doesn't matter. But yet they still try to tan to get our color, take our culture, our dances.
You hate us and love us all at the same time.
All at the same time.
Yeah.
Injections for your butt, for your lips, for your teeth, everything that you hated against us, about us, and talked about us for, now you're trying to get and pay for it.
It helps you understand, though, that is the challenge. The challenge is you're upset that what you're trying to make us feel bad for, you're angry because you weren't blessed with that very thing. Exactly. You're so angry, in fact, that you're willing to spend your resources trying to get it. And it's making you sick. You cannot carry what we carry.
Right.
You're not.
I want to say this. Comment
on our rhythm, but not our blues.
Okay, I'm gonna say this though. Even when you're being educated, you might be reading lies. So we have to be thoughtful and discern also. Because there are people just trying to stir stuff up too. So to have discernment, my favorite thing to say, and I mean it, is I don't know nothing. Okay, I don't care how much I've read. I don't go about what I've read because I know how people take stuff and switch it around, and I know this. No, I know I don't know nothing.
But you're right about that, Cynda. You're right about that, because there are different theories on the same thing. So you're very right. It just depends on how you're wired and what you choose to believe.
I have two friends that I'm working with on two different projects, right? And they are both brilliant. They are both Black men. They are both learned, but they do not agree on our history. They don't agree on it.
That's interesting.
And they have issues with me for dealing with each other, one or the other, because I'm supposed to believe like this person, or I'm supposed to believe like that person. And what I say to them is, I care about what you're doing. I don't care about what you believe. That's where I care about. I know what both of you are doing makes sense to me. I don't have to agree or disagree with you. My heart tells me that what you're working on, no matter what you believe about our history, is valid for our future. And the same with the other guy. And if you would, please stop telling me what to do with who, right? And these are two brilliant men, good men, lovely men, strong men, smart men, learned men that believe two totally different things. Who am I to believe?
I think it's interesting. You said something really important, and it made it like immediately civility popped into my mind. And I feel like we as a country, well, maybe even as a world, and it goes back to what James was saying, something big is occurring. And we've lost civility. We've lost listening. We've lost the ability to have, I posted after 9/11, the way we behaved on 9/12 was the best I've ever seen Americans or people in the world ever behave.
True.
Ever. In my entire existence on this planet, I haven't experienced what my parents and my grandparents experienced. I haven't had to go through the same levels of racism that they've had to go through as a Black woman. I've experienced mine, but not theirs, right? And so as I look at my daughter, and her experience is very different than my experience. And I see these Gen Zers, the millennials, whatever generation, there's no civility. There's no manners. There's no respect. People feel like they're entitled to say whatever, however. And if you don't agree with it, then there's a problem with you. And so it's interesting, Cynda, because you're talking about two people that you hold in regard. you have respect for. And because you won't pick a side, they pick a problem with you. And you're like, I don't care about that. I'm here to focus on my agenda to get the job done with both of you separately. Right. And it's interesting that they can't separate that. That we've become a society that cannot separate that we cannot walk away from and say, okay, that's how you feel about that. We've become so divided in our parties and our families and everything.
But you know what?
It's bananas to me. It really is.
I tell you, Elisa, this is what happened. They both heard me when I said, how dare you make me choose?
Good for you.
And guess what? They were like, you're right. Oh my gosh, I'm doing the same thing. That's how change happens. You're right. You stand up and you say, you know, I'm not going to, on all my platforms, Leese knows, I'm like, that's not my brand. My brand is solutions. It's not whatever. I don't discriminate. I got Trumpers on my platforms. I got liberals on my platforms. I got Black, I got white, I got from every country on my platforms, because I really truly believe that we're all God's children. Where it's humanity.
Correct.
Do I understand my background? Yes. Do I understand my history and what one side of my family did to another, one side of my ancestor did to another? Absolutely. Ultimately, as much division as there seems, we're all got the same blood, different blood types, but we all need to breathe the air to live. We all got to drink water. We're all 87% water, whatever the words are. You know what I'm saying?
We all have the same basic physiological needs.
Exactly.
We all definitely have Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If we all share those same needs, if you believe that framework is, we all share those same needs, right?
They may not be in the same order, but we definitely share the same needs.
And we were all created, well, I believe we were all created equally by God. And everybody's journey is different for a purpose and for a reason. And what may look like an easy journey to some may not necessarily be. And there's a reason why you're going through the path. And I always say, sometimes you go through stuff and it's not for you. It's so that you can help somebody else. Because if you didn't go through it, then you can't pour into somebody else or help somebody else get through. So we each have a burden to bear and a purpose. All of us are walking in it, but God gave us each a purpose, a reason, and a talent. And sometimes we go through things like, why am I still here? Because he's not finished with you yet, because you have not finished your purpose. Some of us haven't even began to even walk in it yet.
And I believe that too, like the Charlie Kirks of the world.
Yes.
He had a purpose. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for mine. Maybe his demise woke up a whole generation of people. I don't know, because I'm not God. I don't know. I know, the only thing I know is that he was my brother. I don't like the stuff he said. I don't agree with him, but he was my brother. And I was sad when he died, because I didn't like nothing about that man, but I love him. I just do. But that's my walk. That's my journey. Everybody's journey I respect. For the militant, the pro-African segregationist, that's their journey. I support it. For the Ku Klux Klan, I support you. Do you? Do you? That's your journey. Because ultimately, in my opinion, just mine, we all find our way back to where we're all equal and we're all one. That's just me. If I agree or not, you know. Can everybody? We're at the end. Can everybody please? I'll call you out by name. Tell everybody that's listening and how you can, if you have anything to support, what you want them to support, however they want to support you. If you have that, start with you, Renee.
Okay, so again, I'm a Mary Kay sales director. You can find me on Instagram at Inside Beauty, and then the letter ICU. Or you can go to my website for holiday gifts and so forth, www.marykay.com/R Wilson 9450. And I'm just going to say we are so much more than makeup.
Yes, you are fine too.
Thank you.
Okay, Tamara, please tell us how,
Yes.
if you are open to that, how people can.
I am Tamara Tillman. On Facebook, I'm Tamara Carter. On Instagram, I am Tamara_Mary Kay Lady. And I too am a Mary Kay representative. And I would love it if you would support us during this season for supporting cancer. We have cancer chemo care packages. My website is marykay.com/Tamara's Torchlights 71. Tamara's Torchlights 71. And I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to get that information from you later, from everybody. Okay, Elisa?
So I am on Instagram. My words of wisdom is Elisa_words of wisdom. And it's just an inspirational site where you can find words of comfort and wisdom and support, because I believe, much like you, we are all spiritually connected. We all are here for a greater purpose than we even know. And so I'm about love and light. And so you can find some of that on Elisa_words of wisdom.
Thank you.
On Instagram. Yep.
Thank you. James?
Hi.
How can we support you, sir?
Well, I have well, I am not really proficient in what you all are talking about relative to this, but anyway, we have a Facebook page entitled Numa.com. If you care to check us out as it relates to not to mental health, but we're doing a lot of other things as well. You are more than invited, more than welcome to join us as we research life and research, i.e., God, and research what we are, why we are here on this planet. Also, I am presently embarking on another project that will be, you'll know more about it as we move along, but I won't share it now. But you will know about it. So thank you, and I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed the fact that you all have vision for the future, and you are engaged in love and life and God.
Thank you. And my name is Cynda Williams, aka Cynda Will. You can find me on all the platforms. I think almost all the platforms. TikTok, Cynda Williams 615, at Cynda Will on Instagram, Facebook, at Cynda Wills, at Cynda Williams on whatever. I do all that stuff. Y'all just type in my name, you'll find me. And look for the picture. And you know, and by the way, I want to talk to you about your breast cancer stuff, because I'm doing a show in October about that. Yes. All right, Joyce, you take us out, sister. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for coming on. Thank you, Leese. Bye, James.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, Leese, take us out. Thank you.
Okay.
Happy
Peace.
Saturday, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. See you next month.
Thank you, Leese.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Adult Conversations with Cynda Family and Friends. Enjoy your Saturday and the remainder of your weekend. Bye-bye for now.